Chapter 1 Introduction. The risk of the COVID-19 pandemic last March of 2020 forced online teaching and learning sessions to be implemented and continued in school institutions of higher learning for the upcoming school year. This resulted in the COVID-19 pandemic being the reason and cause for the change in transition from face-to-face to the usage of online teaching and learning platforms. It is important to explore the students' class participation in both online and face-to-face learning experiences rather than just one or the other. Moreover, class participation is an important, influential, necessary, and significant aspect of education. Students' participation in classroom activities, whether online or face-to-face, is frequently considered part of the evaluation of students' performance in school. Theoretical framework. Theories are presented to provide an understanding of students' academic performance. This study is supported by the two theories, theory of online learning as online participation, as well as theory of face-to-face learning. It is believed that by including these two theories, the researchers can further study the concept and foundation of each individual system that benefits the overall experience of the students. Conceptual framework. Figure 1 represents the conceptual framework of the study. It is apparent that students' class participation may vary into two factors, which are the online and face-to-face learning systems. Statement of the problem. The problem statement that is being tackled in this study is the comparison of the class participation of the grade 12 students of SJCQC in terms of online as well as face-to-face learning. The concept branches that are being measured for the comparison are the following that was mentioned in the conceptual framework. Hypothesis of the study. It is hypothesized that the students are more active in class participation in face-to-face classes instead of online learning. The researchers have come up with 4 hypotheses with each varying concept from online to face-to-face system. Purpose of the study. In this study, the purpose of the researchers is to discover the difference gap between the two learning methods used by the grade 12 students of SJCQC to better understand and figure out the reasons behind the preference and struggles of the students' class participation. Significance of the study. The study evaluates the class participation and engagement of grade 12 students of SJCQC in online and face-to-face learning environment. This study's findings may serve as a guide for future developments, as well as providing knowledge and vital information that would be valuable for the schools and future studies. Scope and delimitation. The study does not cover other schools with grade 12 students, but only SJCQC with grade 12 students. Additionally, the number of students, number of school staff, staff wages, school income, and so on have been excluded from this study, as it is not part of the study and is too large to discuss.
Literature Review. This chapter discusses global and local publications, papers, and studies on student class participation in online and face-to-face learning. This literature study will clarify students' class participation in these various investigations. Local literature. Francisco and Barcelona's 2020 Usefulness of an Online Classroom for Flexible Learning Initiative evaluates online student participation. Eligibility Tried Online Emergency Learning 2018-2019 Qualitative Students Interviews Alternative Eligibility Friendly, Swift, Demanding Web-Based Classes Aid This Study Paticulon et al. 2021 Study Learning Issues. This study found medical student online learning issues. Online learning improved access, standardization, cost, accountability, and student motivation. Family learning style and poor educational learner. Communication mattered. Valoran E. et al. 2021 found that academics prioritize course satisfaction and students' engagement as institutional moved from face-to-face to online learning. Foreign literature. Mahal et al. 2022 online journal publication comparison of student performance in online and face-to-face learning for statistics subject. Links academic performance to self-learning. Gender analyzed 150 statistics students 5 semester numerical. Academic growth. Maal et al. 2022 found face-to-face classes favored women. Men enrolled online. Malan et al. 2022 assess online and in-person student screen, classroom versus online student, perspectives and test performance. Support analyzing students' class involvement on 2 platforms. Kemp and Grieve 2014 discovered students preferred in-personal discussion to learning methods investigated 67 third-year Australian university students' preference and performance. Synthesis, graded class participation, smaller online classes, Maal et al. Says face-to-face or online self-learning affects academic accomplishments. Researchers believed students prefer face-to-face classes to online ones for discussion and interaction. Kemp L. Grieve 2014, another study says innovative teaching involves classroom engagement. Novo M. et al. 2020, distance and time make online student interaction difficult for lectures. UM and Lee H. 2017, conversations group work, writing, and academic homogeneity improve face-to-face learning.
The researchers utilize a quantitative approach, particularly the descriptive research design, in order for the researchers to evaluate the students' class participation in both online learning and face-to-face learning by the respondents. Specifically, the researchers use both summative evaluation and formative evaluation to evaluate separately the two different platforms of learning. Summative evaluation, particularly the outcome evaluation, is used for the side of online learning, which has been implemented for the current grade 12 students in the second semester of their grade 11, that will provide an overall description of program effectiveness. Formative evaluation, particularly the program monitoring, is used for the side of face-to-face learning, which is currently implemented for the grade 12 students in the present semester, that will provide an evaluation for an unfinished program. Moreover, descriptive research as a method aimed to provide a brief description of the study along with its advantages, disadvantages, and the tools to be used during the investigation. My research topic 2021, descriptive research will allow the researchers to arrive at valid, specific, and reliable results from the survey process. It will also give the researchers a chance to analyze the factual information about the topic and create an in-depth understanding of the research study. In this study, the researchers will be using a probability sampling method together with stratified sampling in order to avoid biases among the random students' class participation. Stratified sampling is used to divide all the students into their respective categories and randomly distributed the questionnaires from each section of SJCQC's grade 12 senior high school, the UMS, ADT, GAS, ABM, and STEM. The researchers are going to use an online and actual survey questionnaire as the primary instrument to gather the necessary data for the research process, as it is the most convenient and accessible. Metric scale will be used to measure their agreement correspondingly. The four levels of agreement to the given statements are as follows: strongly agree, disagree, and strongly disagree. Given the nature of this study, the researchers have chosen to collect data through the use of questionnaire. The researchers will then send permission and consent letters to the respective individuals, including the senior high school coordinator, principal, and parent or guardian of the respondents. The respective respondents will be selected randomly from senior high school students who attended SJCQC in the previous academic year, specifically grade 11 academic year 2021-2022. Each respondent will receive a parental consent letter to provide permission and evidence that they are eligible and permitted to participate. In addition, respondents will respond to the questionnaire using Google Forms. The researchers use the table of the interpretation of the answer of the respondents to the certain inquiry contained in the survey. They used the percentage frequency distribution to place the data into categorized table for a straightforward and easier comprehension of the answers. The answer from the respondents will be analyzed academically with the utilization statistics.
This chapter will represent the different gathered data from the respondents' evaluation of their class participation in online learning and face-to-face learning. The data was presented in the forms of a bar graph, pie graph, and a table. Moreover, the researchers used Sloven's formula with a 5% margin of error that is approximately 84 respondents in order to gather accurate data. Illustrated below is the demographic profile of the respondents presented in statistical data such as the age of the students that has 51% of the data is 81-year-old respondents. Second, the different grades and strands that has 39% of the data from the grade 12 UMS strand. And third, the sexes of the respondents that has 51% from the male. Now, we will discuss the results of the data that has been verbally interpreted by the researchers through the use of weighted mean in a Likert scale frequency of responses. Table 1 focuses on the class participation of the grade 12 students of St. Joseph's College of Quezon City, specifically on face-to-face learning. Most of the answers from the provided statements are agree, which has been later concluded that students are participative in face-to-face with a mean of 3.14. Table 2 focuses on the class participation of the grade 12 students of the same school, specifically on online learning. Overall, the participants agreed with a mean of 2.90 to the provided statements regarding their class participation in online learning. For Table 3, which is focused on the concept of time management for the grade 12 students, the students agreed that their time management applies to both online learning and face-to-face learning. But as the data has shown, the students agreed with an overall mean of 3.30 that their time management is more effective in face-to-face learning in comparison to online learning. Furthermore, Table 4 is centered on the perception of the grade 12 students with regard to the motivation and discouragement in class participation from both online learning and face-to-face learning. It has been interpreted that the students agreed with a mean of 2.72 that they are more motivated to participate in class with face-to-face learning. To discuss briefly, the researchers used a pie graph using the statistical data from the tables. This is focused on the evaluation of students in online learning and face-to-face learning. Having said that, it is clearly illustrated that students greatly preferred to participate and be active in discussions during the face-to-face classes rather in online. The statistical measures of data gathered, analyzed, and interpreted by the researchers are indeed accurate, as it proved to be true with the past studies and research.
Chapter 5. The objective of this study was to discover the difference between the two learning methods used by the grade 12 students of SJCQC. The researchers were able to provide specific and reliable results from the survey process. The researchers used survey questionnaire through Google Form to conduct the research. The researchers were able to come to the following conclusive results based on the data that was collected. First, there was a close relationship between the opinions given by the different grade 12 students of SJCQC. A majority of students responded that their recitation and performance tasks improved during the current face-to-face learning, while the written works and major exams followed next. On the other hand, Table 2 of Chapter 4 provided statements regarding the same factors of the evaluation for the class participation, but in the learning environment of online class, which bear lower results in comparison to the face-to-face learning environment, only coming out with a general mean average of 2.90. From the results shown, it is concluded that the grade 12 students of SJCQC were able to comply more with their requirements during the present face-to-face learning in comparison to the previous online learning environment. Along with this, their attendance also improved, with most students preferring to attend the present face-to-face learning in comparison to the previous online learning environment. With all these results summarized, it has been concluded by the researchers that the majority of grade 12 students of SJCQC do prefer the current experience of face-to-face learning in comparison to the environment of online learning mode. Recommendations. The researchers recommend to SJCQC grade 12 students to be active or collaborate in the classroom whenever there is a discussion. The researchers recommend to the parents of SJCQC grade 12 students that they must guide their children and be aware of what they are doing at school. The researchers recommend that future researchers on similar topics consider the internal and external factors that influence SJCQC students' participation in classroom activities. The researchers advise using the sampling method that will be used for their research to broaden or narrow the respondents who will be their collaborators in obtaining the data needed for their research.